Today we're going to talk about the McLaren 600LT against the Lamborghini Huracan series. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so Lamborghini. I don't even know if I say Lamborghini right. I'm not Italian. I don't know how to speak Italian. Maybe we can have the internet help me say it correctly. Let's see here. Okay, Google. How do you say Lamborghini? How do you say Lamborghini?
Lamborghini. Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
You know, I was kind of hoping it to have a little bit more, like, you know, like some Italian flair to it. I don't know if you guys have seen Inglourious Bastards, where I think it's like Brad Pitt and some other guys are like at the movie scene at the end, and he has to act like he's from Italy. It's really funny. He doesn't really speak Italian, so everything he says is like grazie. It's like not good. Anyway, I was hoping that they could kind of teach me how to say it a little bit not good.
Dies hier ist der hervorragende Sensationsdarsteller Enzo Gorlami. Ein sehr talentierter Kameramann Antonio Margheriti und Antonios Kameraassistent Dominique De Cocco. Signori, questo è un vecchio amico mio, Colonnello Hans Landa della SS.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Signori, è un piacere. Gli amici della vedetta ammirata da tutti noi, questa gemma propria della nostra cultura, saranno naturalmente accolti sotto la mia protezione per la durata del loro soggiorno.
This is a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
Grazie.
Gorlomi? Lo pronuncio correttamente?
Sì, corretto.
Correcto.
Gorlomi? Per cortesia, me lo ripeti ancora.
Gorlami.
Scusi, con me?
Gorlami.
Ancora una volta.
Gorlami.
E come si chiama lei?
Antonio Margareti.
Lamborghini.
Margareti. Un'altra volta.
Performante.
Vorrei proprio sentire la musica delle parole.
Margareti.
Margheriti. E lei?
Dominic De Cocco.
Come?
Dominic De Cocco.
Bravo. Bravo.
Anyway, today, McLaren 600LT and Lamborghini stuff. How do they measure up? So, Lamborghini only has a few models. They have their SUV, which we're not going to compare. They have the Huracan with 3 different versions, which we will compare all 3. They have the Aventador in basically 2 main versions that we will not compare at all because they're too expensive. And then there's the Few Off, which is like, I don't know why they just don't put like hypercar or something like that. I don't know, but it's like the Centenario. That's the Centenario and the Veneno. I don't even know what the Veneno is. I'm gonna click it just so you guys can see too, because I'm, whoa. Okay, I've seen this before on a video. I think it was Stradman. Stradman, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing okay after Street Speed attacked you last night. For the 800 horsepower McLaren issue. Anyway, so let's talk about the Huracan. I don't know how to say that. So there's 3 different versions of the Huracan, and those are what's going to be compared to the 600LT. There is the coupe, and that's an all-wheel drive. It's funny it doesn't say all-wheel drive or anything, and it's a LP610-4 for being all-wheel drive, 4 wheels. Then there is the Huracan RWD rear-wheel drive coupe, and again, I never talk about convertibles or spiders because it just makes everything get that much more confusing, and the videos would take twice as long. So I just compare coupes to coupes, and if you want spiders, that's cool. Just assume that they're slightly slower and definitely more expensive. And then there is the Performante, which is the amazing version that everyone wants. So the Performante, I believe, comes with a bunch of forged carbon, which looks amazing in my opinion. Big fan. Here's the Performante, and let's look at some of that forged carbon. Here's some on that rear bumper. It looks really, really cool. And I believe it has a bunch inside too. And the front lip with the forged carbon, and here's the interior with more forged carbon. And my understanding is that's all included with the car. It's not like a extra. It's not like one of those things where you start adding all these options and then $50,000 more or $100,000 more. That's my understanding, but we will find out the answer to that for sure today, because I'm going to call the Lamborghini dealership while we're on this video, and confirm that and confirm some pricing with them. So one thing to really talk about here. So we're talking about the McLaren versus the Huracan series, and the really big thing that matters to me is that the Huracan series does not get the Lamborghini doors, the vertical doors. And I think that probably pisses a lot of people off because, well, they're called Lamborghini doors for a reason. People love them, and people love Lamborghinis, and they love Lamborghini doors. And if you're forking over that much money, you want the Lamborghini doors. And they've made it so exclusive that you have to spend, I think it's like $350 is the entry price for the Aventador. I'll just look it up real quick. It's Aventador price. Let's put 2018. Okay, yeah, about $420,000 entry price. Really up there. So you have to spend $420,000 for the entry level Aventador just to get the doors that go up. I know it's like that thing when they started doing, oh, you got to get the V12. So it used to be the Murcielago, and I guess before that was the Diablo, I believe. And you had to get that version, the highest level Lamborghini, to get the vertical doors. But I think that it would be smart of them at this point in time, moving forward after the Huracan, whatever replaces the Huracan, I think they should probably start giving everyone the Lamborghini doors just to compete in the marketplace. Because I mean, McLaren puts it on their entry level car, and that's kind of people love those doors. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? You can afford to do it. It fits in. They have plenty of margin. So anyway, let's talk about, I've got a little spreadsheet here with a bunch of stats between the 3 different Huracans and the McLaren 600LT, and let's just look at them across the board here. So the 600LT's price fits most closely to the Huracan LP610-4, which is the all-wheel drive. And this is just a quick edit to the video. Unfortunately, my spreadsheet does not show the McLaren price very well because it's getting blocked out by my web camera. I'm going to scroll over a little bit. As you can see, the starting price for the McLaren 600LT is $240,000. For the rest of the video, it'll be covered by my face, but I just want to tell you again, the starting price for the McLaren 600LT is $240,000. So remember that when we're comparing. Thank you. The specs are fairly similar. So they have similar horsepower. They both have about 600. The McLaren 600LT has a little bit more torque, which makes sense because it has twin turbo engine, and turbos tend to make a lot of torque. So it depends on how you tune them, but it makes sense that it has more torque than the naturally aspirated V10 from the Huracan. So the weight is the Huracan weighs about 400 more pounds, which also makes sense being that it's an all-wheel drive vehicle. That all-wheel drive always weighs more. And then the horsepower to weight ratio definitely favors the 600LT with 0.20 versus 0.18. And then, as I mentioned, so the Huracan, all 3 versions of the Huracan have the same motor, which is the 5.2 liter V10 naturally aspirated. And I love naturally aspirated motors. I also love twin turbo motors, but it's a really great motor. That V10 is a really awesome motor, and it sounds amazing. So definitely I'm not favoring either motor here between the two of them, but I think they're both great motors. And one thing I found very odd is that everything I saw for the LP610 said that it didn't say dual clutch, it just said automatic. Please correct me in the comments if it has the dual clutch. I would think it would. For it's $60,000 more than the LP580. But it also came out in 2014 originally, and maybe like everything. I see, this would make sense if in 2014 they didn't have the dual clutch, and so the information I saw on the internet maybe was a 2014 information from when it first was released, and maybe now they're offering the dual clutch. Let's maybe answer that question real fast. I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it, but let's just do a quick check here. So here's the Huracan Coupe. I don't know if it's coupe. I just keep saying that. Let's see if there is. It is dual clutch. Cool. All right, we answered the question. I will adjust my spreadsheet accordingly. And then the LP610 has all-wheel drive, just like the Performante, but unlike the LP580, which only has rear-wheel drive. I'd say only, but and then here's where things get interesting. 0 to 60 usually is going to be favored or faster on an all-wheel drive vehicle. As most of you know, launches are just super gnarly. You get so much traction. I love all-wheel drive launching because I have a GTR. Not to say that rear-wheel drive is boring, but so you're getting a 2.5 0 to 60 versus the 2.8 in the 600LT, and the Performante is even that much faster at 2.3. And whoa, the LP580 is just really behind at 3.3 seconds, which kind of to me doesn't cut it for a $200,000 car. Let's just scroll over real quick to look at those Porsches I had on here. GT3 RS is rear-wheel drive and does 2.9, so, and that's about the same price. So they're not doing so hot here on this LP580 with their acceleration. It should be way better. You know what? I'm gonna check again too with Porsche. So this, I'm sorry for bringing Porsche into the mix here for a minute, but it deserves to be in the mix. So 572 horsepower and about 400 foot-pounds of torque, and then over here on the GT3 RS, significantly less power and torque, weighs a little bit less, with only a 4.0 liter inline six, and they're pulling way faster 0 to 60s. I mean, maybe it doesn't sound that much faster, but it definitely is. So this should be better, and maybe a better driver could get it closer to 3.0. 0 to 100. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to we're mainly talking about the LP610 because that's the closest price comparison. So the 0 to 100, the 610 looks like it's slightly beating the 600LT, but this estimated 5.8 on the 600LT could be a little bit slower or even a little bit faster depending on final numbers once the car's actually released. And then quarter mile, you can see the 600LT does take over. It beats the 610 in the quarter mile. It loses slightly to the Performante. And then the top speed, that's interesting. The 610 shows a higher top speed than the Performante. I would have to believe that's not right. That might be a bad stat or something. Or maybe the 204 here isn't correct. I'm pulling this information from the internet, so if it's off by a little bit, don't sue me. So the 610 was the closest price comparison, why the Performante is their top performer. And the performance of the 600LT, I would say, kind of falls in between the two of them. So it's a good price. I mean, I think that the 600LT is showing that you're getting a good value at the 240 because it's probably in the Lamborghini realm. I would say it would probably be priced around 300. And does it do anything cooler than the Performante? Like, is there something about it that's better? Yeah, definitely. It's got 918 style exhaust and the Lamborghini doors. I mean, I don't know. I just I think that's a little bit frustrating if you're a Lamborghini fan to not get those doors. And it's really cool if you're a 600LT fan to be able to get those 918 style exhaust pipes on the back. I really hope that whatever replaces the Huracan also goes with the 918 style exhaust. I think a lot of people are a lot of brands are gonna start doing it. It's so cool. And I'm gonna bring up one more thing before I call the Lamborghini dealership. The Gallardo was released in 2004, which is the predecessor of the Huracan. So 2004, and it wasn't replaced for 10 years because the Huracan came out in 2014. So 10 full years of Gallardo. And right now we're at year 5 of Huracan. So we're only halfway through the life cycle. Well, we'll see. Maybe they come out with one sooner than 10 years this time. But I'm just trying to make a point here. The Gallardo Performante came out in 2011, which was, let's see, what is that? 7 years into the product life cycle. So 7 years in, and they were released a Performante. But we can see here that with the Huracan, they released a Performante at 3 years in. That's crazy. 3 years in versus 7 years in, which would kind of lead you to believe that they will replace the Huracan sooner than they replace the Gallardo. I would expect it to be replaced probably in 2020. That would probably make sense. And here's why. When the Gallardo was out in 2004, what kind of competition was there? Well, there always is the biggest competition, which is Ferrari. There was Porsche, and McLaren was kind of still a new player, I think. Let's look at what was it at the time? MP4 12C release date. It was 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2011. So it's the McLaren did not have a car out at that time. So that's one less competitor. I'm not trying to say McLaren and McLaren rules the world and it's the best supercar brand or any of that. I'm just saying competition wise, there wasn't a lot of competition. You didn't have you also you didn't have a Nissan GTR out at that time. I know that's not a super close thing, but there are some people that would buy a GTR and pocket the money that they would have spent. There are some people that would have bought the new Z06 that's out right now. There would have been a Z06 and a ZL1 out at the time, but they wouldn't be as good as the newer Z06. And then so it was just Ferrari and Lamborghini. I don't even think Porsche had anything out that great at the time back then. I'm sure a bunch of Porsche fanboys are going to be like, oh, what are you talking about? There was this. But I think we were really talking about the $200,000 club. It was really Lamborghini and Ferrari. So what was that, like the 360 or something? Ferrari F430. I don't know what year that came out. 2004. Okay, so it would have been the F430. And the Gallardo, pretty much. So that's what people were really looking at. And if you looked at it was really those two cars, and so they didn't have that much competition, I feel like. And now it's like, McLaren has a bunch of different models out there, and you've got Ferrari's got a couple different models out, and then you have Lamborghini competing with itself with 3 different Huracans. You have Porsche with the GT2, GT3 RSs, and I'm probably forgetting a couple other things, but there's a lot more out there right now. I feel like today than there was back then in that realm of what you might call supercar realm. So I think we touched on enough of this stuff, and it's time to make a phone call to my local Lamborghini dealership because I want to talk. All right, I just cut the first video that you were watching because after the phone call, it became about a half an hour video. So I'm going to cut this into 2 different videos and give you the summary of the phone call. If you want to watch the next video where I actually make that phone call to the Lamborghini dealership, you're more than welcome to do that too. It's great if you want to, but I don't want people to be getting frustrated with the half an hour video if they don't want to hear me, talking to someone on the phone for 15 minutes. So I'll give you the summary of that phone call. The pricing for Lamborghini is very similar to McLaren, where it's just set. The MSRP is the price you pay. You don't pay some crazy addendum. He did mention that he's pretty sure Ferrari does put addendums on it, just like Porsche. He did say that the Huracan Performante does include all the carbon composite components. The rear diffuser, the front lip, and the interior pieces are all included in the price of the MSRP. They are not additional options. Unfortunately, they do not have build sheets like McLaren was able to provide me, so I can't just go build all the options and see how much the car costs. In fact, he didn't really even tell me how much the cars cost. He wanted me to come into the dealership. Of course, everyone wants you to come into the dealership, but I think that's pretty much the gist of the phone call. So they also had, I think it was 3 Performantes in stock and 11 Huracan either 580 or 610s between the 2 models. So they had plenty of inventory, and this is like a kind of a smaller dealership here in San Diego, and a part of San Diego called La Jolla, which is kind of a very upscale area. There's also a Ferrari dealership like around the corner from them. So Anyway, that wraps up the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bells, tell your friends, share this video. You know, if you have friends that are into cars and are interested in cars and Lamborghinis and high-end exotics, do me a favor. If you like the content, I put a lot of time into these videos and doing research and things like that. So if you could help me out by, you know, doing those things, it will motivate me to make more videos. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Grazie.